Hi YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Bringing you another video. They're going to be coming thick and fast these days. Obviously I'll get it in early. If you like the content that we're bringing you, please like, subscribe, share it amongst your friends. Every little bit you do helps me and it helps grow the channel so that I can bring you more and more of this sort of content. Now, today is now the time to buy and invest in gold, silver or copper. Should I believe the hype? Is the hype real? Well, for me, I'd just like to get this caveat out of the way as well. I'm not your financial advisor. I'm not going to be telling you, yes, you should be investing into this or that or whatever. What I am giving you is just my personal, humble opinion. Now, I work on the basis that I have a 5 or a 10-year plan. I don't bother short-term plans. People say to me, but you should have like a 1-year plan, a 3-year plan and all this. I don't do that because I work on the basis that regular money pays regular bills. Now, as long as my bills are paid, everything's hunky-dory. I don't care. Now, should I invest into whether it should be a bit of silver or should I invest in gold or copper? Copper for me, let's get that one out of the way. Copper for me is a waste of time, right? This is just my humble opinion. Don't get me wrong. When I look at some of the people that are out there that actually pour into copper and they make these intricate molds and they create these, what I think, some of these are absolute masterpieces. That is a piece of artwork. This is, to me, and this is just my humble opinion, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. If you want to invest in copper, sure, it's a rare resource. It's going to go up because, like any resource that is getting rarer to find, it is going to accrue in value. So therefore, put your money in a hedge fund or do an ETF, but don't waste your time on this because unless you've got a warehouse where you can stack up kilos of this stuff, and I do mean hundreds of kilos, the return on it is going to be nowhere near as good as what you could find with gold or silver. Now, moving on, silver is obviously more affordable. For me, I love things like this. This is why I'm a collector. You know, when I look at stuff like this, I just look at it and I love the twinkly stuff, the twinklies. You've got to have shiny stuff in your collection. That's me, you know. Anyway, getting back to the point, is it the time to actually invest, like in gold or silver? Well, for me, I'm a collector first and foremost. The fact that what I collect accrues in value and will actually, add to my, adding value is that is a bonus. I work on my investments are worked on a 10-year plan. That's what I work on for me. I think 10 years is most important. It doesn't matter what your length of term is, but ultimately, and this is something I've always taught my children, I've always said to the kids, whatever you do, make your target, set a goal, right? I want to have, for argument's sake, I want to have a fund that's worth £100,000 in 10 years. Now backward plan that. How much are you going to have to invest and how much interest are you going to hope to achieve to get to your target? All these things, because you can only invest what you can safely afford. Don't overextend yourself. I've made that mistake. So learn from me. Don't make the same mistakes I have, because it's crazy, and I have overextended myself because I thought that I was doing the right thing. As it turns out, I got lucky. I'll tell you a quick story, and it is a very, very quick, short story. I actually had some money set aside. My wife and I were planning to put a new driveway in. Basically, what we decided to do was we were going to have this new driveway. We're going to have a new patio. And then Andrew goes to an auction. And Andrew spends over 30 grand at an auction. And of course, my wife looks at the accounts, as she does, being an accountant. She looks at the accounts and she turns around and says to me, Andrew, where's all the money gone? We had all this money set aside, and for our driveway, and I said, darling, it's all gold. It's all golden. Now, the reason I got lucky was because I invested all that money, but As luck would have it, gold took off. My gut feeling was right. I knew that gold. I just had this feeling that gold was going to go mad. I used to do this on stocks and shares, exactly the same thing. I can see patterns and I see things, and it sounds bonkers, but that's what I do. I see patterns. And I could see that gold was going to be going up exponentially, just the same as I saw with silver. Hence why I got into silver. I was never into silver. I've always been into gold. I've always collected gold. I've been lucky enough to inherit a load, like from my grandfather. So I was very fortunate to get a head start. And I do count my blessings. Now, whatever you invest in, regardless of whether it's gold, silver, platinum, whatever, even stocks and shares, do your research. Do your research and look at the evidence. I work on the basis that if I can see something's going to change, I change. Now, someone said, oh, that's a bit of a weakness. And I went, no, it's not weakness. You've got to follow the evidence. You ask any good detective, you ask any good policeman who's good at his job, what do? They follow the evidence. Anyone who investigates something, it's called working from a position of strength. And that's what you've got to do. Now, back to the point, gold, silver, copper. Well, we've dismissed copper. For me, gold is long-term. Gold is long-term. It's served for over 5,000 years, in monetary currency. So, is it going to be around? Of course it's going to be around. It's going to be here forever, But I do genuinely think that silver has its place. I think the legs on silver, I think has got a long way to go. And at the moment, silver is very, very cheap. I mean, you're paying spot price is £45. So if you're playing anywhere close to spot or below spot, you've had a really great price. I bought this particular one. I managed to get this for £5 above spot. Now, I thought that was an incredible deal, and I just couldn't pass it up. I had to have it. If I can see I can get things at spot price or thereabouts, I'm going to have them. So you guys should be doing exactly the same. If you're going to decide to go into gold and silver, do so, one, with with an amount that's affordable to you. Your budget, what you can afford. Two, make sure that you have a good sort of split. I work on a basis of having 70% gold to 30% silver. Now, that ratio has changed a lot over the last year because I could see the way silver was going. I've now taken my focus away from silver and going back to gold because that's where I want to do. I've built this up. I've got this to the level that I want it. Now I need to invest in my gold. And as you can see, I've got various different things here. It doesn't matter whether I've got a proof sovereign or whether I've got, a pendant. If I've bought it at the right money, and like this, I paid scrap value for this at the time. I paid scrap money for it. It's a shame that someone's butchered it by putting it on, like an 1817 half sovereign, and they've put it onto made it into a brooch. The workmanship that's gone in on the back, though, you can see that someone with a bit of skill has done this, because making a gold box hinge, I know I digress, but that's me. Making a gold box hinge takes a lot of skill. This is not something, but still for me, because I've bought it at scrap, I don't care. I'll buy scrap. I've got sat in here a whole load of stuff, whether it's 22 carat, I've got 18 carat white gold sitting in here. There's loads of 9 carat gold. Look at this clown. Some clown has decided to ruin a set to test this. He wanted to, obviously the person who owned this previously has decided they were going to test it by scratching the face of it. Just ruined the whole collection. So this coin is only worth scrap value, which is a shame really, because the set it comes from was for a really good cause as well. So commemorating all those that had fallen in World War I. So for me, what a waste. It is just a waste. So really, silver, more affordable, but very volatile. It's a bit like watching an ECG, If you watch the market, it's up 1 minute, down the next. But if you look at where we are today, even right now, if we look at what the cost of silver is right this very second, we'd be looking at £45 an ounce, right? That's £45 an ounce without any spread. Now, for those of you who don't know, the spread is the addition that people add between the spot price and what they actually sell it for. Because obviously everybody has to make a living, somebody has to mine this and get it out of the ground. So all those costs, VAT, everything has to be added back in. So at the end of the day, I would say to you that if you're going to buy something, if you can buy it at spot price or very close to, that's great. But just remember, silver has a dual purpose in life. It is used as an industrial metal as well as a safe haven. But it can bite you in the backside, and it can bite you hard. You know, like for those that bought at 120 earlier this year, who are now looking at 45, I mean, they've learnt a valuable lesson there. But you know, if you're a trader or a dealer, you're going to be buying all year round. You're not bothered whether the price is 120 or whether it's 40. You know, you're still going to be buying because you've still got customers to service. For those of you that are the casual investor, this can make a massive difference. So just bear that in mind when you invest. And this is why I say to people, never ever put in anything more than you can comfortably afford. If you can comfortably afford to put money in, put it in, you know, and choose your metal wisely. As for for gold, gold has always been a safe haven, but it's long term, really long term, you know. So don't buy this with an idea that you're going to quickly flip it over. There are people that want to do that sort of stuff. I'm not one of those. I like to buy stuff for the long term, you know, and that includes my silver. I just think over the next 2 to 3 years, and this is just my personal opinion, but I think silver will be growing exponentially because the amount that we're using in solar panels, in AI, in data centers, in electric cars, you know, silver is being, you know, weaponized in industry. And when that happens to anything, the price can only go one way. At least that's the evidence that I follow. And I'm a great believer in just follow the evidence. So with the gold, yes, it's wonderful. If, you know, like I will keep it long term, you know, like, and with this, you know, even scrap is still a good thing. So if, you know, if you're lucky enough to be able to buy people's scrap, buy it. Keep a pile of it. This lot, I will end up melting down and turning into my own gold bar. That's what will happen to it. I will just melt it down, turn it all into, when I've got enough, I will turn it into a gold bar. Or I'll make something out of it. Who knows? Maybe that's going to be another video. I'm going to take my scrap, turn it into something, you know, like something special. What about a golden teddy bear? Yeah, that'd be an interesting one. Or a golden laughing Buddha. Yeah, these things are all good ideas. Anyway, in summary, basically, if you're going to do copper, for me, I would go down an ETF route. If that was me, that's what I was going to do. I would go down that way rather than putting your money into that. I've only got this, not because I bought it, I won it. So because I won it, how can I say no? But I wouldn't personally go out and buy that. Silver's on there, you know, will be, you know, over the next 2 to 3 years, as I say, I think it's going to be a good investment. Gold has always been a good investment. You know, sure, short term you can find other things that can make you a quick buck, but it is only going to be a quick buck. So, take what you will from this video, like it, subscribe it, and keep coming back, and I'll do some more. Have a good day, people. Take care now.